I was with someone who tortured me day and night with words from the mouth, words and laughter that made me begin to see myself as worthless. It got so bad that I even started bedwetting. Alright, let's go get the gems. I am glad that you joined me on this episode. I am happy that you're on this journey of self-improvement. Let's go get it so you can unfuck your life and get happiness and peace. Happiness is free, and it really pains me that many people don't realize this. Now, to be bold and unstoppable. The key to your self-improvement and a lot of your happiness is to unfuck yourself literally from other people's expectations of you. Literally, I mean it. You know what it is when you have the fork that you use to eat your food. You unfuck your life because it's been pinned, and that is what a fork is. It pins you, like it stabs you, literally. So that's what's happening. It's other people's expectations that are stabbing you and killing you. And I want to share with you my own life experience of how I realized what I realized in that last video that you watched, that everything lies between us and God. With this, you strengthen yourself and you are actually living the life that you are supposed to be living on this earth, because you're put here for a particular purpose. And when you don't realize that, you'll be like a lily blowing in the wind. Once upon a time, I was a very miserable person, but today I am bold and unstoppable. Now, you can't even tell that I was ever like that. It's going to be the short version. And down the line, you will get the full version with some of the background story for perspective. So what do I mean when I say it's to not give a rat's tail? The best description that I can give is to tell you that you need to believe in God, in your Almighty Father, and let Him be the only one that matters. And anyone who decides that they're not happy with you doesn't really matter. And you may say that that's easier said than done, but I'm telling you, the truth is, because they don't have the power, nobody has the power to send you to hell or to heaven. Everything is between you and God. Why does anything else matter? If somebody cannot send you to any of those eternal places, then how much power really do they have over you? So when you're giving over your power, it is you who has decided to give it over to them. And for reasons that even you cannot explain. Just because you haven't thought it through, you haven't gone inside yourself to think about it. I hope that this will open your eyes and change your understanding, or begin to change your understanding of how we give over power of our lives to other people without even knowing it. And all of a sudden, it's someone else or other people who are determining what our lives look like and whether we have happiness or peace. This is so painful. It's so painful that people are going through this. But I'm here to uncover these things with you, for us, for our conscious empowerment. This is my mindset, and this is what I operate from. And so, at the end of the day, all power, what matters most, is in the hands of my Almighty Father. It's between Him and I. But listen to how I came to this understanding, so that you can understand how I came to the understanding for the things that I explained in that first video. When I didn't realize that God had to be my backbone, it was a dark period in my life. It was dark. When I say dark, it was dark. I felt so miserable and so wretched. And even when I walked with my head down and my gaze cast downwards, because I felt I didn't matter. Can you believe that I ever did that? What happened? A family arrangement had changed my environment, and with that change, I was forced to be in an environment with someone who tortured me day and night, literally day and night. I mean it, not physically, but with words from the mouth, words and laughter that made me begin to see myself as worthless. It got so bad that I even started bedwetting. Yep, I did. And my posture changed, and I started walking the walk of the timid, which is actually a real thing. Google it, you'll see. I didn't even know it was a real thing until many years later. I found out that there's a way that timid people walk that stems from that timidity. Not always, but that happened to me. So what brought about that situation for me? Something had happened with my family and with arrangements. And you see, this is why I am very passionate about family arrangements, family dynamics and family relationships. This is why you hear me talk a lot about family, because I know the impact, because I know that it can transform people into a lower and twisted version and turn them into something that they shouldn't even have become. Okay, so how did I bring an end to it? What has our Almighty Father got to do with this, and how did I have that encounter? I'll tell you what, I didn't even know how I got there. I just found myself there, and then I found out later that this was exactly what happened. Remember that I told you that this is a short version. If you want to listen to the full version, you'll find it later down the series. I'm going to give that in one of the episodes. So I got out of this feeling of wretchedness because I had told my mom how miserable I was. And one day, in frustration, this woman just said, "This is not who my daughter used to be. This is not who my child used to be." And that woke me up immediately. It was like the light bulb just went off. This is not me. I immediately had a flash in my mind as I started to think deeply about it. I went completely inward in myself to make sense of those words that she had dropped. And guess what I ended up with? It's true. This is not me. Because I had to ask myself this question. Who did God actually create me to be? Who did He make me as? Who am I right now? And how did I get here? And do I like it? How much do I like it? Do I like this life? And I knew that I didn't like it. I already told my mom how miserable I was. And so what did I do? And as soon as I answered those questions, the scales fell off my eyes completely. I realized that I had taken off who I was, and I had taken a cloak from this person because of their words and their laughter. I was now living the life of the cloak that they put on me as someone else. And I was miserable. All because of another human being on the face of this earth. And right there and then, the only thing that crossed my mind was, this person is stealing my life and I am allowing it. And then because I realized it, I resolved that it was not going to happen. This person was not going to succeed. I literally said to myself, this person cannot steal my life. That is not who I am. I didn't like the life that this person has switched for me. And at that moment, I stopped giving weight to other human beings as the definition of who I am. I decided that who I was going to be at all times would always be according to the definition of my Almighty Father and who I was created to actually be. Honestly, that's just... Imagine that. I had dropped my own cloak and taken on a cloak that someone else gave me instead of what my Almighty Father gave me. And so my life was now going to be on the foundation of my Almighty Father and who I was created to actually be. I don't think that I did this all through from that moment, but it was one of the strongest things that started to give me confidence. Everything didn't change at once because from time to time, I forgot this. But basically, it was there. And that has been part of my life for always, from the moment that I learned that. So follow this series. It can change your understanding of life and how you can live peaceful and happy. I tell you, if you follow closely and look inwards with every stage and with every episode that I release, you'll see. I often say things that people cannot even understand when I say them. Recently, I made a statement that can never happen to me. I will never be treated this way by anyone, and I will never be in this situation. And one of the ladies that I was talking with said, "Uzo, you can't determine what will happen." And I laughed and said, "Oh yes, I can. I most certainly can. As far as relationships with other human beings, I don't even have to think twice. This very thing that we're talking about can never be my own experience. It will never be my case. Because I will never even try to understand it. You know, if you look on my post, you'll see where I've made a post where I said, life begins the moment you stop trying to make sense of nonsense. I don't write those things because I want to sound like I'm rhyming. I write those things because they are reality to me. Because I have lived them and because I know them. And it might sound strange to the person who hasn't experienced it. But you see, if I can tell you that I have said this and I have decided to live by it, and that I have successfully lived by it, what it tells you is that another human being can decide to. Yes, we're all different and there are different circumstances and there are different backgrounds, but certain things we actually have much more power over than we're willing to give ourselves. So that lady was insisting that I can't control things. But the other lady said, Wow. So that is a declaration that you make, Uzo, and you live with it. I love it. I love that. So I said to the lady, once I find myself in a situation like this, it ends right away.
Because you must know who you are and determine what you accept as your reality. So once you see what doesn't align, you know right away. And my whole color of the situation changes literally. It's like a glitch. I switch on a completely different atmosphere, which is a loud signal that this will not happen. And whoever is there will know immediately that I am not joking around. There is no room for negotiation, and it's not even necessary to raise one's voice. You just see that whatever the offending situation is, I am having none of it. And I will declare it without any shadow of doubt. When I say this, it doesn't mean you cut off people or end relationships. I mean, sometimes that is necessary too. And if you must, be ready to do so. But what I mean is, you must know who you are in your Father and defend what you stand for. There is no room for negotiation on what is unhealthy for you. Joke around with it, you'll find out soon. If you look back on many of the things that you weren't happy with but you accepted, you will notice that it was mostly due to you not really knowing who you really are from our Almighty Father.
Things don't end because many times people are trying to figure out how to work with the thing that is not working already. Do you understand? I'm going to repeat that again. The thing is not working already. But instead of leaving it there, it's like being on a train heading in this direction. And if you understand all of a sudden that the train is heading to Edinburgh, you want to get to Kensington. What do? You don't continue heading to Edinburgh and try to cajole the conductor or the driver to turn that train to Kensington. You understand that there are other passengers going on that train and they all want to get to Edinburgh. You are the one who found yourself on a train heading to Edinburgh instead of to Kensington. So what you're supposed to do is to get off that train and get on a train that is going to Kensington. But you see, many times people are stubborn. People want to be on the train going to Edinburgh and find a way to make everyone else go to Kensington. I know that I'm communicating. And you just need to acknowledge that you made a mistake and got on the wrong train. But people don't want to acknowledge their mistakes. People want to insist on their mistakes turning out to be right. The thing is, many people you need to stop working against common sense. Stop working against common sense. Many people get stuck in something that they shouldn't be in because they start to invest more and more effort, money, resources, time, energy, whatever. They start to throw more and more. And so when you hear people talk about things, you often hear them say, you don't know how it happens, it creeps in on you, and before you know what's happened, you're too far deep into it. And that is a problem. That is it. You have to understand it at the beginning and nip it in the bud. I'm always talking about nipping it in the bud. So if you find yourself going in the wrong direction, just humbly get off of that train. Tell everybody you made a mistake. Bye bye, guys. Safe journey to Edinburgh. I'm now going to find a train going to Kensington.
And I know that you might be arguing within yourself. You might be saying to yourself, Uzo doesn't know how difficult it is because of this reason or that reason. The bottom line is this. There is no middle ground for something that you know doesn't align with who your Heavenly Father has created you to be. No matter the difficulties, either accept or we reject it in its totality. Unfortunately, this is something where there is no middle ground. The moment that we don't accept it, then we're going to have to live with it. It all boils down always to accepting it or rejecting it.
So do you see how everything comes from your perspective? Everything comes from your mindset. This is one of the interpretations that we can give to when we say that life is spiritual and that everything comes from the mind or from the spirit. Do you understand? So one lady is telling me that I cannot determine what will happen. And yet, time and time again, from the time that I made that declaration up until today, that is the way that I live. And if you adopt that for certain things in your life, it'll work for you. Because now and even in the future, anytime that I see what I know that I don't want, I already know I am not having this. So there is no negotiation. But when you want to negotiate with the devil, When you want to reason with something that is working against you, you're fighting a losing battle. So do you understand this? Do you see the difference between these two ladies? One of them got it and the other one didn't get it. It really pains me that people don't realize how much they contribute to creating the unhappy circumstances that people find themselves in. So you see what I mean? So what about you? I hope that this has helped you to see how you just making a declaration about a certain thing according to what you want is going to create changes in your life. There is more, as you'll find in coming episodes. If you want to be bold and unstoppable, follow me on this series and understand how you can gradually transform your life and yourself from inside, because true transformation comes from inside of you. Let me know in the comments how this makes sense to you, if you've ever experienced anything like this, and if you want to share with us. And remember to like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and share it with other people so that we're all moving towards our conscious empowerment. Okay? So see me in the next episode. Let's continue on this journey of self-improvement. Oh, and remember, I'll be sharing the long version of this sometime along this series. Bye.